Hey guys, what is up? Durkey Steak here. So I want to say it was a couple months ago. I did a Neo 2 boss ranking, kind of my first video of that, like first type of video like that. And I enjoyed it. Yeah, I really liked making that boss ranking, and I decided that I wanted to kind of do one for another one of my favorite games in that, like kind of Dark Souls a Dark Souls like game. So I decided to do that with I'm going to do that with Sekiro right now. So the plan is, so what we're going to be doing for this is that Sekiro has a lot less bosses than Neo 2, because I think Neo 2 was 27, I believe, and there's not very many main bosses in this game. There's a lot of mini bosses and stuff like that. So kind of what we're going to be doing to make this list a little bit longer is we're going to be doing pretty much all the main bosses in the game, plus the unique mini bosses, because there's most of the mini bosses in the game are kind of repeats, bosses that kind of get repeated. I'd like to give like a quick little honorable mention to a couple of those mini bosses that are a little bit more unique, but just so happen to be repeated. There's the 2 7 spears, which are pretty hard, challenging fights that I have a lot of fun with when I do them. And then there's all the headless. I think there's 4 of them, or 5, I think. All the headlesses are pretty cool. But yeah, I think those are the honorable mentions I kind of wanted to get out of the way. But yeah, so I'm super excited to get into this. I'm hoping to make this into maybe a 3-parter, which we almost did with Neo 2, but we kind of ran out of time. And we had to do a 4th video with just the number 1. So hopefully this one I can get through with just 3 videos. So, but yeah, I think that's enough of an introduction. Let's get right into it. So the problem with some of these lists is that you just know on some of them what is going to be number 1, and Sekiro is no different. I think a lot of the times when people are watching these things, it's mainly just to see what's number 2, what is the second best, what in this person's mind is almost as good as the number 1. And I just kind of wanted to get rid of some of that. I know, I think for this game, I think a lot of people know what the number 1 is. So today, we're just going to be starting off with the number 1, then we'll get up to the true suspense of what is number 2. Now, for me, the number 1 boss in the game is the Mist Noble. The Mist Noble it's perfection. The enemy design, the boss design for it is fantastic. I think it's so unique and you never see it again in the game. It's so good. And the area leading up to it, just by how powerful he is, he manipulates the area leading up to him. So good. They even give you a stealth blow on him, so that way you have a little bit of a chance. But the boss is fantastic, and really, I think we all knew that this would be number 1. It's just an amazing boss, and is the peak of Sekiro boss quality. But let's get into the rest of the list. At the bottom of the barrel, the number 21 spot, we have the I think it's the Okami Leader. I think it's the one on top of the tree. When you get to the Fountainhead Palace, you're able to kind of swim through all the water. Yeah. But if you try to do that, you'll get struck by this bolt of lightning that comes from this big tree off in the distance. So, at Fountainhead, you have to work towards getting towards that area, which is pretty cool, and you have to work there to take it out so that way you can actually swim freely through there. Which is nice, and I enjoy it, but really, it's just, the fight itself is pretty much nothing. I mean, it's just a normal enemy from the area, but the encounter leading up to it I felt was more, significant enough, and it's kind of cool to have that kind of threat and have to go take that out. But the actual fight itself is really just a cakewalk and something that's over in a matter of seconds. So I really just didn't want to put this any higher than the bottom of the list. There's just, I don't know, there's not really too much that's good about this fight. Like I said, leading up to it, getting through the Fountainhead, pretty cool. But really, the fight itself is not very good. So that's why it comes in at number 21. Okay, so number 20 is the False Corrupted Monk. Ignore the gameplay footage that you're going to be seeing in the background. It's very sloppy. I had just come from Monster Hunter, which X is dodge, so or is like dodge. So you'll see some failed Makiri counters here and there, but and it's just kind of sloppy all around. But the main thing about this fight, and why it's all the way down at the number 20 spot, is it's a precursor to a better, not only a better fight later, but a better fight that even then is not like one of the best fights in the game, you know? It's a good fight, but it's not going to be I don't think it's going to be anybody's favorite. It's probably not going to be in anybody's top 3 or top 5 even. It's a solid fight, but it's not like it's a precursor to the best fight in the game. So, really, and it's a cakewalk with it being an illusion. You can kind of use the snap seeds, which deal a big chunk of its health. And on top of that, you can use the Divine Confetti to make your sword more potent against it. But really, there's just not a ton that this fight has to offer. A lot of its attacks are pretty easy to deflect and have a pretty good feeling and rhythm to them. So really, there's nothing too much about this fight that I would say is standout, and that's why it's at the all the way down at the number 20 spot, even though it is a shinobi. Okay, so this next boss, I was lucky enough to not have fun my first playthrough, as I went through this area before the boss required to get here. And this is the dual ape fight, double apes, whatever you want to call it. This fight is a combination. It is, so our last fight, our last boss we had was a precursor. This is like an aftercursor. This is something that happens after you beat a previous boss in the game, which is the Guardian Ape. And this fight is a gank fight that is not fun. There's gank fights done well, like Orange Soon Smog. This fight is not one of those. This fight sucks. So you take the kind of erratic nature of the Headless Ape and combine that with the erratic, fast, and unpredictable nature of his first stage, make it two different enemies, and do it at the same time. Now, it can be there's ways that you can kind of go through a chunk of their health, like the Mortal Blade, stuff like that, or do maybe a little bit of the Stole, or something like that. But it's just, and the Firecrackers really help against it, the Guardian Ape's wife. But dude, it's just a pain to go through. It's just not a fun fight. It's a gank fight not done well, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. There's just nothing really great to say about this fight. It's just, whereas the other ones are nothing special, maybe a little too easy, or just didn't really mean all that much. This fight not only doesn't really mean all that much, it's a boring fight. It's not boring, I guess to say, but it's just an annoying fight that is just it's dumb fight, and I don't ever really like doing it. So that's why it comes in at the number 19 spot.
3 monkeys. One of the panels is empty.
Okay, so coming in at number 18, we have the folding screen monkeys. This boss is kind of like the puzzle boss that From Software likes to have in their games. It's alright. It's a pretty solid. It's not as bad as like Bed of Chaos or anything, or even Mikolash for that matter. But it's a pretty simple fight, and I think it's honestly probably one of the better puzzle fights that From Software has done. But it's not a very fun fight to do either way, just because it's a puzzle fight. But at least there's things that you can kind of do, and it makes sense, you know. So there's 4 monkeys. One of them, its whole gimmick is that it's invisible and it just kind of follows you. That's the one that I think on my first go through is the last one I got. Each subsequent kind of playthrough of this boss is just turn around and smack. And then one of them is green, and that one is all about sound. That one has a very good sense of hearing, and there's like this bell that you can ring to kind of make it go deaf and yeet its sensitive hearing, you know. So that way you can go in and take it down. The red one is just kind of like a basic monkey, but he has a little thing that he rings on his chest. That just kind of whenever he sees you, so that way it alerts the other monkeys and they start moving. And then the purple monkey just has really good eyesight and can see you from a really far distance. And that one you can kind of isolate in a kind of pitch black room. And then the green one you can isolate, like I said, you can kind of ring the bell and it's hearing, or you can kind of put it into this little waterfall room where it can't hear anything because of the waterfall being right there. But that's really kind of about it for the fight. Just take them down one by one. There's these other little monkeys that kind of spawn in that build up terror. They can be annoying and are really the only thing that's ever going to kill you in this fight, unless you just kind of fall off the map a couple times and forget to heal after doing it or whatever. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing really too crazy about this fight, but I'd say it's a pretty solid kind of puzzle boss that From Software did. But at the end of the day, it's still a puzzle boss, so that's why I don't really feel. And there's a lot of really good bosses, so that's why it's not at the number. That's why it's at the number 18 spot.
The divine heir. Last we stood together was your uncle's funeral.
Lord Kenichiro. Thank you.
Leave this to me.
So the noble shinobi stands in our way.
Okay, so at number 17 we have the first fight with Kenichiro. This fight is great. This is the very first boss of the game, and it's a good one. Now, the thing is with this boss is that story-wise you are not supposed to beat this boss, you know? And it's supposed to be that hard boss, like you just got the game, you don't really know what you're doing. He's pulling out all these crazy things that you kind of know how to counter. And at this case you don't have the Makiri counter, so you can't technically counter thrust. You don't have your shinobi prosthetic, so you don't have all your tools at your disposal. But obviously when you kind of come into this New Game Plus, the only thing that you're missing out on is your shinobi prosthetic. You have your Makiri counter, you have all that, you have your health, you have your gourd. But this fight, for the most part, is just a toned down Kenichiro fight. It can still be a little bit of a challenge, but it kind of becomes more clockworky when you are on your next playthroughs. Now, the only thing about this fight is with it being kind of a beginning fight, you know, like I said, it's toned down from his normal fight. But really, I wish that there was just more that happened if you do beat him, you know? Because if you beat him, he cuts off your arm, which, or if you lose, he cuts off your arm, which leads to you getting the shinobi prosthetic, the prosthetic arm. That is a big thing in the game. It would be nice if you got like something, if there was something that happened for beating him, like maybe you just get some type of reward, and you know, maybe you don't even lose your arm, maybe you just have to go that game without the shinobi prosthetic. That'd be really weird and interesting, but that'd be an very I don't know, I just wish that there was something, because you still lose your arm anyway, as you see right here. But really, I think that's really is kind of what I wish, that there was just something that happened for beating him, rather than just kind of having, like, or at least a trophy, you know, other than just having that satisfaction of beating him. But other than that, this fight is great, but just for it kind of being the precursor to the actual fight with Kenichiro, I think that this is just kind of where I have to kind of put this down all the way here at number 17. But, yep. Okay, so coming in at number 16, we have the Armored Warrior, which is one of the best mini-bosses in this entire game. He's completely unique. It's the only time he ever shows up. And, I don't know, his fight's just a lot of fun, you know. He can be a little difficult here and there. In this footage, I was kind of messing around with the, because normally I typically use the hatchet against this guy, but I just kind of want to mess around with a couple other the prosthetic tools against him, see if anything came of it, but nothing really. But really, the whole thing with this guy is he doesn't take any damage, and you just need to build up the posture damage against him by deflecting his attacks, Mikiri countering his thrust, and attacking him to kind of raise that posture up. And when you find out after you kind of get the death blow on him that that's not how you kill him. You can't kill him with the death blow. You have to get the death blow and position yourself correctly so that way you can throw him off the bridge, which, as you can see right here, I was not able to do. So his posture goes down a little bit, and you have to kind of work towards getting back to that point to be able to push him off. It's really cool. Basically just kind of throwing in like a Dark Souls thing into Sekiro, which is a pretty interesting thing. But, and then come on, I mean, we all feel for Robert at the end of the day, you know, or Roberto, depending on if you if you don't have the English voice acting. But but other than that, it's, I don't know, it's just a fun fight and a really unique one at that. So that's why it comes in at the number 16 spot.
Father? Mother? The butterflies. Everyone is gone.
My lord. Illusion technique.
Ah,
It's been a long time, son of Owl.
I need Butterfly. Leave us.
who are...
Do what must be done.
Yes.
Now then, son of Owl, shall we dance?
Okay, so to end our video today, we have number 15, Lady Butterfly. Lady Butterfly is a cool fight. My first 2 times that I played this game, I kind of cheesed her a bit. So it took me a couple of playthroughs before I ever actually, like, I would say, fought her. The first time I fought her, it was pretty much right off the bat. I was like, she seems fast. Died to her one time, and then just, like, I cheesed her with, I think it was the Nightjar Slash. I just found that I did it like once or twice in a row, and I was like, wait, she's not doing anything. And I just like, I wonder if I can keep doing this. I was like, I wonder how I keep going on for this. And it literally went like the whole fight. Like, I kept doing it. She got stuck in a corner, then she got out, and then got up to her again, did it again, and it just went until her posture ran out. And I was like, oh, so that can be abused. Sick. And then I did that again on the second time I fought her. And then it took me a bit, and I took a pretty big break from the game. But other than that, she's honestly not too hard. The shurikens that you can kind of hit her, if you hit her at the right time, can really kind of make the fight kind of a cakewalk. She's not too bad. I'd say it's really kind of the big reason as to why I don't really feel a big coolness factor from her, really, like some other bosses. And then also on top of that, she's not super hard, so it's not like I don't really remember all that much for the challenge either. But she's pretty cool, and I do like kind of the concept of her fight. She's really fast. She's probably the fastest boss in the game. And her illusions in the second phase are pretty cool, but they don't really do much. And I never really find the snap seeds like I never really find them to be that useful like they're supposed to be. I just kind of attack her and then hope I don't get hit by the illusions that she makes. But other than that, it's a pretty fun fight, but nothing too crazy going on here, I would say. But that's kind of why it's going to come in at the number 15 spot. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for our video today. Yeah, I'm super excited to kind of get into the top 14 here, the other next 2 videos. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy. I don't know, because with Neo 2 boss ranking, there wasn't any mini bosses. It was all just bosses. Neo 2 is a little bit more formulaic like that. You kind of go through missions, and at the end of the mission, there's a boss. And with that boss, there's a cutscene. So it's kind of nice to be able to kind of use those cutscenes to put in the number, and like the number of the boss and the name of the boss. So it's a little bit easier to kind of do that. With this game, there's a lot more bosses that come in naturally kind of through the environment, stuff like that. So rather than just being introduced through cutscenes, a lot of them do have cutscenes. A lot of the main bosses, but some main bosses don't, and some... Well, all the mini bosses don't, obviously, as well. But so it's a little bit harder to kind of do that. But so I just kind of stuck with talking for it. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy. I don't know. I'll probably edit all these and get these all made, and I'll upload them. I don't know if I'm gonna do them like once a week, or maybe once every other day, or once a day, or something like that. But for now, I'll probably just, once I get all of them up, edited and ready to go, I'll upload this one and get that out. So that should be this weekend, which I think is the weekend of the 25th and the 26th. So should be getting it out sometime around there. But other than that, I think that's about it. But I hope you guys did enjoy. But thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.